I was sad thinking like I normally do. I got to thinking about if someone asked me how do I get to where I'm at, or maybe people looking into it and they see they come across killing the ego. That's like one of the main things you got to do to get to a place of awareness or consciousness. I even had one of my boys. He was like, he's not really a spiritual person. I'm like, well, a spiritual person wouldn't even call themselves that because they will understand it's just another title. Like, ain't no titles. We all just are what we are. We all part of the consciousness. You know what I'm saying? But to get to trying a new angle on this phone, trying to get the light right. But to get to a place of awareness, it's not that you have to kill the ego. You have to recognize it as part of you, but separate. And what I mean is the ego is the one who helps you navigate life as we've been born into it, as far as this system of things. Because it's the one that's been dealing with it for longer than your spiritual self. Because if you on the path the same way I'm on the path, or on your own path or whatever, until you once you recognize that ego is separate, then you understand that it's the ego that's been here way longer than you have. Once you find your true self, so it's not that you want to kill it. You have to recognize it and then learn how to use its talents. Because like for me, or an example of using the ego's talent, it's like you at work and like some of these inspectors, they think they know what they're talking about as far as when it comes to our work. And they do because they read books, you know what I'm saying? But this is what we do every day. So they'll come up, say something. My ego immediately knows it's wrong and wants to be like, no, you do it like this, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know what I'm saying? But the way you use the ego, because the ego is the one that instantly you wanna flex on them. You know what I'm saying? You want to kind of make them feel stupid because they think they know it all, that type of shit. So your ego feeds on that shit. But you gotta understand your ego is a monster created by society. So it feeds on that type shit. It feeds on a lot of shit that gave it life. And so in order to sustain that life, it has to feed on what gave it life. So this is in all aspects of life, uh, life as you know it until you find yourself. But once you find yourself, you clearly see that when dealing with friends or jobs, or especially in relationships, you see that the ego is not loving unconditionally. It comes with a lot of conditions because that's what gave it life. So it wants to feed on those conditions. And so it finds things to be mad at or jealous at. You know what I'm saying? It finds them. It creates the illusion of some of that shit being real until the mind gets infected and then you react. You know what I'm saying? Even like with the jobs, you react because you want to shit on somebody, or you know what I'm saying? Even like when the ego is the one that get us to buy these name brand clothes because you want to shit on somebody. You know what I'm saying? But you got to learn how to, number one, recognize it and then use its talents. So like when I'm at work and the ego want to go off, I'm like, nah, we're going to let them do it or let them talk about it. And then we'll come articulate our ideas and present it in a manner to not be aggressive. Like, no, I know what I'm talking about. No, I'm a suggest it. You know what I mean? Because I give my ego a little bit of what it needs because they'll never recognize that I'm feeding on it. But to me, I know I'm feeding it a little bit because it wants some of that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I recognize it. You know what I mean? Or like I might get on my machine and operate that bitch and show off a little bit. You'll never see it in my face, but I show off a little bit and I watch the inspectors looking at me and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's feeding my ego, but they not feeding it. I'm feeding it. You know what I'm saying? I'm maintaining it because I don't want the beast to die, because that's what I need to navigate this life. Because spiritually, I'll be like, man, fuck all this shit. I don't want it. Don't matter. Don't nothing matter. Like, give me space and we talking about quantum physics and like I'm one with the union. You know what I'm saying? Let my spirit take over. I wouldn't give a fuck about none of this shit. You know what I'm saying? But the ego, like, no, you got to go to work. You got to pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? God damn, I just gave you money for that. Now I got to do and give you money for, the ego keep all that shit in check. Cause the spirit be like, just take it. Here, take it. I don't care. Money doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? But the ego, like, yeah, it most certainly does matter, sir. And we can't give it all away. You know what I'm saying? We have to pay some of the bills, or we are all in the street. So it's like you can't get rid of it. You just have to recognize it and then learn how to use its gifts. And dead that shit when it's in the way. When you know it's something, when there's something in your life that provides for you spiritually. You know what I mean? And that's like love you get from your children or your wife or your husband or you know what I'm saying, your friends. But like I said, the ego, especially if that's not what it was created by, it was created by some other shit, it's gonna look for shit within those interactions that you have with the people that you are getting what you need spiritually. So it's gonna create shit. So that's where you gotta silence it, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes, it speaks and you listen, you be like, okay, I got my eye on it, you know what I'm saying? Don't jump the gun yet. I got my own eye on it, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. So I guess it also goes back to what I was talking about, the balance. The ego is the chaos. The spirit is the order, you know what I'm saying? And to live is the balance in between the two. Because spiritually, like I said, I could let go of and say, fuck it, you know what I'm saying? Or I can go into my ego and think that's who I am and just keep stressing and worrying and being in fear and all that bullshit, you know what I'm saying? But instead, I find balance. And that's where that shit comes from. It's crazy because I'm trying to look into the camera, but it's over there. I don't know. That's what I was just thinking about. I guess it'll help somebody out. Even if you ain't on a spiritual path, at least recognize. You gotta recognize that the ego is not you, man. That shit is a product of a experiment that you ain't even know you was in. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a mind fuck. It's like you born a child, you fully a spirit, taking up all the space in your brain. Then they just start mixing shit together, and next thing you know, you got a personality. That it starts off as a personality. Look at him, he got a little personality. He gonna be a lady killer. That type bullshit. It starts off as a personality, and then they just keep feeding that bitch, and then you think you become that personality until the ego gets so big that you don't even think you the spirit no more. You just think you got a spirit. Lay your head to rest and give it to God in the sky and hold that till I wake back up. And if I don't wake back up, it's yours. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't even think that's you no more. You think you got that shit in your pocket like a credit card. That shit is crazy, man. But you gotta learn to recognize that shit. And then have full understanding that that's not you. That's some fucking monster that live in you. That ain't gonna go away because, like I said, the very place where it's created is still here. You're still walking around in it, working in it, going to the grocery store in it. You got advertising all around you all the fucking time. You can't ever get rid of the ego. You just have to recognize it. Learn to control it. Understand that it's not a person that's in you. It's like a pet. You know what I'm saying? Once you get that, then you know you're in control. You know what I'm saying? Don't let that shit get in your way, man. Get out your own way. I guess that could be considered doing the shadow work too. Yeah. I'm about to get off this bitch, but just remember the person you was yesterday won't exist tomorrow because all the experiences that that person had today will make me the different person I am tomorrow. And you're supposed to get better with every day. You know? I guess. I don't fucking know. I ain't got the answers, man. This shit just work for me. I'm hoping it worked for you. I don't know. Peace.